Paul Skenes, 6'6", goes to the Pirates at number 1. The question here, Jeff, and I've heard people ask the question about how quickly would he get to MLB? I think if you were competitive, there would be a case or a scenario where you could try him in the bullpen this year. But since they're not as competitive right now, I honestly kind of think the thing you should do here with Paul Skenes is you should probably shut him down for the rest of the year because he's thrown so much. But next year, I think I'm looking at bringing him in AAA to start the year. I'm sorry, AA to start the year, simply because he is so much more advanced than we expect. Again, I think he's the best college pitcher since Steven Strasburg, that kind of level of dominance. If you're the Pirates, what do you do with Paul Skenes right now?
You shut him down.
You shut him down.
Everything he's done. I agree. Everything you said is 100% dead on. You shut him down. You let that arm rest. That arm has seen so much work this year. We talked about the risk. And then next year, you start him in AA and you give him that route. You give him that quick route because it's a special arm. It's easily the best one we have seen in so long. Like I said, it is since Strasburg, who, if you weren't someone who was following it then, he was the most hyped prospect I'd ever seen. And that was the year, I'm going to get myself wrong on this. I believe that was the year after Bryce Harper, but I could be wrong there. But he was the biggest hype we've had. And I think you shut him down and then you give him to AA and he can be ready to help that young core very quickly.
Yeah. So for context, what Paul Skenes did this year, 19 starts, 12-2, 1.69 ERA, and 122 2/3 innings. Struck out 209 batters, so 15.3 per 9, walked 20, so 1.5 walks per 9, 7 home runs allowed. And this was the first year that he was not a two-way player. At Air Force, he had 150 at-bats last year, 189 in 21, and did really well. Batted .314 last year with 13 home runs. But this is something where he hit another level as a pitcher. Just solely as a pitcher. Hit another level of performance. And so I think the obvious question now, Washington Nationals take Cruz at 2, don't they?
You got to. He's just too good. Like I say, it's not only is it a production over 3 years we really haven't seen, but every bit of the biggest weakness is hey, maybe he can't play center field. And but that's it. Is there something I'm missing? Even just Anthony Castrovinus had that great article I retweeted. Go read it on MLB.com about what he has done for people with disabilities and bringing kids to games. He's a great human. He's a great player. Everything is great with him.
That is the observation I've had about both of these LSU guys is they're very good humans. One of the things that stands out for me with Skenes, so I'm trying to wrap up on Skenes before we get to the next pick. Things that stands out to me on Skenes is you're watching the College World Series, and I can't remember the young man's name, but LSU's catcher injures himself in the final game. He has he's in crutches, foot's wrapped, and all of that. And after they win, everybody runs out of the dugout, obviously, and goes to go dogpile. Skenes waits, picks him up, puts him on his back, and carries him out to the dog pile so he can celebrate with his teammates. And it's the little things like that. You mentioned it, and there was a great article, like you said, about Dylan Cruz. But a lot of these LSU guys seem to do it the right way. And yes. I can appreciate that as somebody who has covered the SEC, has watched college baseball, and see a lot of guys that don't do it the right way, or teams that kind of don't necessarily have the right attitude, the right behavior. I have noticed that University of Tennessee seems to get some of that a little bit there. I can appreciate the LSU kids being such good human beings and like that a lot. So Paul Skenes to the Pittsburgh Pirates with the first overall pick. We're coming up on the pick should be in. The pick is in soon for Washington. Jeff, final thoughts on Skenes to Pittsburgh.
Listen, I have Langford 3. I don't want anyone thinking that I don't like the guy, but there's a clear top 2. You had to take those top 2. This is the right call. If you look on Twitter, you can find it's already reporting he'll sign for $9.25 million. So there is some savings. If you believe the rumors, the Cruz wanted 10. What does $750,000 give you? Well, if you add it to a second round pick, it's you can grab a falling first rounder in the second round. So that's maybe what they're looking to do, or they might just like Skenes. A lot of people had him as the number one player in this class, but they made the right call in the end. You had to take one of these two guys, and if you're a Pirates fan, you should be happy right now.